Look closely at your face tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the mirror lies to you. Do your eyes look heavier than they used to? Does your face feel fuller, softer, almost swollen, even though you haven't gained weight or changed much in your life? Most people instantly blame age. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if what you're seeing is not aging at all, but your body quietly reacting to something you take every day? This change doesn't arrive with pain or warning. It arrives slowly, so slowly that you accept it as normal, and that's what makes it dangerous. Because once you recognize it, you can't unsee it. And by the end of this video, you may realize this isn't just information, it's about you. Facial puffiness has a way of disguising itself as age, blurring the line between natural change and internal imbalance, and nowhere is this confusion more common than in those taking Amlodipine, a medication widely used to manage blood pressure. The face, delicate and expressive, becomes a canvas where circulation, fluid movement, and cellular health are displayed openly, and when something shifts internally, the face often speaks first. This is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken curiosity, because curiosity leads to understanding, and understanding leads to better choices. In holistic health philosophy, the body is never randomly malfunctioning, it is always responding, adapting, compensating. Inspired by educators like Barbara O'Neill, many have come to appreciate that symptoms are not enemies to suppress, but messages to interpret, and facial puffiness can be one such message. When fluid begins to accumulate in tissues due to altered blood vessel behavior, the face becomes softer, heavier, sometimes duller in color, and the eyes may appear tired even after adequate rest. This change can be gradual, so slow that you adapt to it emotionally before you ever question it logically. You may start investing in creams, serums, and anti-aging routines, believing time itself is the culprit, while the truth quietly continues beneath the surface. Aging in its natural form tends to thin the skin, reduce elasticity, and create fine lines that follow expressions and years of living. But puffiness behaves differently. Puffiness expands rather than collapses, smooths rather than creases, and gives the illusion of age by altering contours instead of texture. This distinction is subtle, and without awareness, it is easily missed. Amlodipine works by relaxing blood vessels to reduce pressure, but in doing so, it can also allow fluid to seep into surrounding tissues, especially in areas where gravity and circulation already struggle, such as the ankles, hands, and face. The face, rich with tiny blood vessels and lymphatic pathways, becomes particularly sensitive to these shifts. Over time, the lymphatic system may struggle to keep up with excess fluid, and stagnation occurs. The result is not illness in the dramatic sense, but a quiet heaviness, a sense that your face no longer reflects how energetic or youthful you feel inside. This is where confusion sets in, because society has trained us to see every facial change through the lens of age, rarely through the lens of physiology. We begin to blame years instead of systems, birthdays instead of blood flow. Yet the body does not operate on calendars, it operates on balance. When balance is disrupted, the face shows it. There is something deeply unsettling about believing you are aging faster than your peers, because it feels like losing control over time itself. But what if the story is different? What if your body is not failing you, but asking you to notice how it is responding to support or stress? This idea alone can shift fear into empowerment. In natural health traditions, the face has long been viewed as a map reflecting the state of digestion, circulation, hydration, and detoxification. Puffiness is often associated with sluggish fluid movement, not irreversible decline. That distinction matters, because one invites resignation while the other invites action. The moment you understand that not all facial change is aging, you reclaim a sense of agency over your health. You begin to observe patterns instead of panicking over appearances. You notice whether puffiness is worse in the morning, whether it fluctuates with salt intake, hydration, sleep position, or medication timing. These observations are not trivial, they are clues, and clues, when followed gently and wisely, can lead you back to alignment. The face is not betraying you. It is communicating with you. In a world that constantly tells you to fight your body, this perspective feels almost rebellious. Yet it is quietly powerful. As this awareness settles in, a deeper question begins to form, one that lingers beneath the surface and creates a sense of suspense, not about fear, but about truth. If this is not aging, what else have I misunderstood about my body, and what other messages have I been overlooking all along? As awareness deepens, the story moves beyond the mirror and into the rhythms that quietly govern the body each day. Because facial puffiness does not appear out of nowhere, nor does it persist without reason. The human body is designed with an intricate drainage network called the lymphatic system, a system that does not have a pump like the heart, but instead relies on movement, breathing, posture, and balance to keep fluids flowing. When this flow slows, fluid lingers, and the face, being soft and richly supplied with vessels, becomes one of the first places where stagnation reveals itself. Many people do not realize that medications like amlodipine can subtly influence this process, not by damaging the skin, but by changing how fluids behave within the tissues. This creates a situation where the face looks fuller, heavier, and sometimes oddly smooth, a look that can be mistaken for weight gain or premature aging. The mind then fills in the blanks with worry because uncertainty always invites fear. Yet fear dissolves when understanding enters the picture. Aging in its true biological sense is slow and structural, involving collagen breakdown, cellular fatigue, and gradual loss of elasticity, while medication-related puffiness is functional and often reversible, tied to circulation rather than time. This distinction is rarely discussed openly, leaving many people quietly distressed about changes they do not understand. In philosophies inspired by natural health educators such as Barbara O'Neill, there is a recurring reminder that the body seeks balance constantly, and when something interferes with that balance, symptoms appear not as punishment but as guidance. Facial puffiness can be seen as one of those guides, gently pointing toward fluid overload, reduced movement, or compromised lymphatic flow. Modern lifestyles compound this issue because long hours of sitting, shallow breathing, late meals, and high sodium intake all slow the very systems responsible for fluid clearance. When medication is added to this mix, the effects can become more visible, especially in the face. What makes this situation particularly suspenseful is how quietly it develops. There is rarely a single moment where you notice a dramatic change. Instead, the reflection shifts little by little, day after day, until one morning you pause and feel something is different. That pause is important because it is the moment where awareness can either lead to panic or to curiosity. Curiosity asks questions rather than assigning blame. It asks whether puffiness reduces during the day, whether gentle movement helps, whether hydration changes the appearance, and whether the swelling feels soft and fluid rather than firm and lined. These observations matter because they help separate true aging from temporary imbalance. There is also an emotional layer to this experience that is often overlooked. The face is closely tied to identity, confidence, and how we present ourselves to the world. So when it changes unexpectedly, the impact is not merely cosmetic. People may feel less vibrant, less seen, or prematurely diminished, even when their internal health remains strong. This emotional weight can become heavier than the physical puffiness itself, creating stress that further disrupts circulation and healing. Here, the cycle quietly feeds itself, and without awareness, it continues. Suspense builds not because the situation is dangerous, but because the solution feels just out of reach, hidden behind assumptions we rarely question. The realization that aging is not always the answer can feel unsettling at first, because it challenges long-held beliefs, yet it also opens the door to hope. Hope does not promise instant change, but it restores the sense that the body is responsive, not doomed. Simple practices like mindful breathing, gentle facial massage, improved sleep posture, and conscious hydration support the lymphatic system in ways that are often underestimated. These practices do not fight the body, they assist it. When paired with informed conversations with healthcare providers, They create a space where medication benefits and side effects can be understood together rather than in isolation. This balanced approach is not about rejecting medicine or glorifying nature, but about recognizing that the body responds best when all factors are considered. The suspense deepens when one begins to notice small shifts, perhaps a lighter feeling in the face by midday or a subtle return of natural contours, moments that suggest the body is listening and responding. These moments are quiet victories, easily dismissed if one expects dramatic change, yet profoundly meaningful if one understands how healing often works. The face, once a source of worry, becomes a feedback system, reflecting the internal dialogue between circulation, lifestyle, and awareness. And as this dialogue becomes clearer, another question emerges, lingering with gentle intensity: if such small adjustments can influence something as visible as the face, what other transformations might be possible when the body is truly supported rather than judged? As the understanding settles, the final layer of this journey invites a quieter, deeper reflection, because the most powerful changes often occur not through force, but through awareness sustained over time. When you stop seeing your face as an enemy and begin seeing it as a messenger, the entire experience shifts from fear to partnership. Facial puffiness no longer feels like a betrayal of youth, but a signal that something within is asking for gentler support. This perspective, often echoed in teachings associated with Barbara O'Neill, reminds us that the body is designed to heal, regulate, and adapt when given the right conditions. Amlodipine may play its role in supporting cardiovascular health, yet the body's response to it is deeply individual, shaped by hydration, movement, stress, and nourishment. Understanding this interplay restores dignity to the healing process because it places you back in relationship with your own biology. True aging unfolds slowly and leaves its marks with wisdom and texture, while puffiness is more like a temporary fog, softening contours without rewriting structure. When this difference becomes clear, the urgency to fix gives way to patience, and patience creates space for meaningful change. Many people discover that supporting lymphatic flow through simple daily habits has an effect not only on appearance but on overall vitality. Gentle morning movement, deeper breathing, mindful eating, and adequate rest are not dramatic interventions, yet they align the body with its natural rhythms. Over time, these rhythms influence circulation, reduce stagnation, and allow the face to reflect internal balance rather than internal burden. There is a profound emotional release in realizing that you are not aging incorrectly, but living in a body that is responding honestly to its environment. This realization lifts an invisible weight because self-criticism quietly drains energy that could otherwise support healing. The face softens when the mind softens, and this is not poetic metaphor alone, but physiological truth. As stress hormones directly affect fluid retention and vascular behavior, when fear subsides, circulation improves, and when circulation improves, tissues respond. This is why holistic perspectives emphasize calm as much as correction. The suspense that once came from uncertainty now transforms into curiosity about what the body can do when supported consistently. You may begin to notice subtleties like clearer skin tone, more defined features, or a lighter sensation upon waking, not as miracles, but as confirmations that the body is responsive. These confirmations build trust, and trust encourages continued care. It is important to remember that this journey does not require abandoning medical guidance, but enriching it with awareness. Open conversations with healthcare providers become more empowered when you understand your own signals, because you are no longer reacting blindly, but participating actively. The face becomes less of a battlefield and more of a barometer, reflecting internal harmony rather than internal struggle. In a culture obsessed with reversing time, this approach feels almost radical because it values alignment over illusion. Yet alignment has a way of restoring what illusion never can. As you continue forward, the question is no longer how to look younger, but how to live in a way that allows your natural expression to emerge unburdened. When the body is supported, it often surprises us with its resilience. quietly reminding us that many changes we fear are not permanent sentences but temporary states. And as this understanding completes its circle, it becomes clear that the face has been guiding you all along, inviting you to listen rather than panic, to support rather than fight, and to trust the intelligence within. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.